Hello there everyone, it's KraDeNine. Welcome to my long overdue Zero review video. So, what is Zero? For starters, before the review begins, here are some details about Zero. Zero is a genderless warrior, meaning Zero is both male and female. Therefore, besides cash up items, you're only allowed to use neutral gender gear, such as Empress gear, Rudabis gear, and the sword. No gender specific gear unless it's from cash shop. As said, Zero is both male and female. The male is called Alpha and the female is called Beta. If you ever need a good way to remember that, just think of Alpha male, that's the best way to remember. The main stat is Strength, as Zero is part of the warrior branch. You will get weapons, which is two specific broadswords for Zero. Alpha wields a long sword which is called Lazuli, while Beta wields the heavy sword called Lapis. These weapons upgrade every 10 levels up until level 170. Zero is a child of Rhine, the transcendence of time, born from her tears in an attempt to free her powers from the Black Mage. Things do not go as planned once the Black Mage figured out her plan. The child was split into two, Alpha a male and Beta a female, and imprisoned in the mirror world. From there, they uncover information about Maple World and the dangers that are outside, away from their safe mirror world. Now, the story is rather interesting, to be honest. If you end up reading a lot of the quest lines, you'll end up with some pretty cool tidbits. For example, did you know Ludibrium is a town full of children? They ask the transcendence of time to keep their youth, and that's why they all look like Legoland toy figures. Again, the story is rather interesting and I did enjoy it. I highly recommend you just read it. So my score for story will be 8 out of 10. It was great and I loved knowing more about the Maple World as a whole. However, it felt very obvious for the Zero story itself. Outside of towns, the Zero storyline is kind of generic. I guessed many of the events ahead of time only to go, I was right. But that doesn't mean it's a bad story nonetheless. Zero starts off at level 100, so if you've never hit level 100 before, congratulations! You hit level 100 in about 10 seconds. But anyways, you're in the mirror world from level 100 till level 180, and it really doesn't take that long to level up. Zero is a quest-based character for those 80 levels, meaning you accept the quest, complete a dungeon, rinse and repeat, get a level, and continue on. After 180, you end up going to the Maple World and begin training with everyone else. Training is rather easy with a Zero, since Zero is focused around mob skills. Killing monsters at Hall of Honor, Warrior Grounds is actually pretty easy and quite fun when you're able to handle the controls very well. For leveling, I give Zero a 9 out of 10. It levels pretty fast, but being forced to only have questing as an option leaves some to be desired. A small alternative would have been nice if it was a possibility. Also, some players might be off-put because they are not able to get experience outside of Mirror World up until 180. So if you go into Maple World at level 170, you will not get any experience from anything you kill there. Zero uses two skill sets, one for Alpha and one for Beta. Alpha is focused more around fast gameplay, while Beta is more damage oriented, a bit slower but the heavier hitter. If you can figure out how to use one character efficiently, like for example Alpha, then you will have no trouble and you only have to worry about 4 skills. However, if you wish to learn both, then you'll need to juggle about 8 skills. When used, a skill has a cooldown and therefore you need to use another skill. This can be a major detraction for people who are accustomed to hurricane-like skills, or are only used to using one skill like Demon Impact or Boomerang Step, for example. However, when you understand the controls and have a good handle on it, Zero is nothing to mess with. Hall of Honor is a piece of cake with Alpha alone. With the addition of Beta's damage, it's nothing but a 1-2 death type scenario. Mastery of cooldown times are also essential for keeping the pace going. Controls get a 7 out of 10 for me. Although the controls are neat and different, many players will feel out of their comfort zone. It's not easy to pick up and play as many other classes, and there is a pretty steep learning curve if you want to use all the skills correctly. As one might expect from a brand new class in MapleStory, this class is conceived as overpowered. While this is quite true at base damage, players who are not familiar with the new control scheme might struggle at optimizing the damage. However, the damage is extremely high for the base range, meaning no additional gear like 15% strength top, for example. Therefore, if you're a player who plays for damage and can learn a new class fairly quickly, this may be a great option. Damage gets a solid 9 out of 10. The damage is up there, but the control scheme holds it back since not everyone will enjoy it. Funding a Zero isn't easy, but at the same time it isn't that hard. Like mentioned in leveling and the damage sections, Zero is a pretty easy class to move up in both levels and range. The only downside is you're on equal terms at base range with every other Zero. Percent strength gear, depending on the server, can vary greatly in price. However, you're given the option to create some of your own gear via the mirror world. In addition, you can also get your swords a great potential, since you do not need cubes in order to, well, cube it. It's more new player friendly compared to other classes, and on that note, skill books are also bought using mirror world currency, not mesos. Always a bonus for players low on mesos. Funding gets a perfect 10 out of 10 for me. It gives new players plenty of options outside of free market, not counting free market economy prices and the sort. You're given so many things just using mirror world currency, which you can go into dungeons to farm more. You can also save immense amounts of money getting your sword to higher potential with weapon points. You really can't ask for more. Now, this section is more focused around personal preference, yet it is asked a lot when people aren't sure what class to make in MapleStory. Personally, I did enjoy this class. However, it is not something that I would play as a main character and more as an alternative character when I feel like I need a break from my Phantom. In terms of fun, I give this class a 9 out of 10. It isn't a bad class in terms of enjoyment, but it does have minor flaws that can be overlooked by many. Personally, like I said before, it isn't something that I would use as a main character and more as a sub character just because I can't see myself using the same playstyle over and over again just to level up. Overall, my final score for a Zero is an 8.7 out of 10. The Zero class was enjoyable and was a fun ride. I had no problems getting to level 200 since level 250 is not and was not my goal. I was also given plenty of neat options and loved the whole mirror world story mechanic. It's always nice to know more about Maple World in a fun way. I do enjoy the story-driven class format, and Zero is a good example of that. I do hope in the future when they make a new class that is similar, that they give more options than just a solo fest for 80 levels, and perhaps give alternatives rather than an only dungeon training area. So, thanks for watching my Zero review video. What are your opinions on the subjects I covered? Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Go ahead and comment down below what you think of the Zero class in my categories. So, see you guys in the next video.